Welcome to Wisdom Talks podcast. Wisdom cries out in the streets, but who's listening? The sages and the scribes and the messengers of the Most High. Let's get it in. Welcome to Wisdom Talks. This is Chief Servant Terrence Frederick, and I am excited today. I am going to be building with a sister, friend of mine that, I want to just do this before I even open it up and say who I'm talking to. So we are going to be speaking with Dr. Annette West, who is a published author and founder of Living Word International Ministry. And how do you pronounce Jetna Publishing? Jetna Publishing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure when we first met. I think it may have been 8 or 9 years ago or something like that at Love Covenant Church when I used to serve there. And I got the awesome privilege of meeting her. She is definitely a mover and shaker. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have her on Wisdom Talks is because with Wisdom Talks, we like to talk about the subject of wisdom. Wisdom is a builder. Paul talks about being a wise master builder. And if I've never met a wise master builder, this one right here, she exemplifies that. We had the privilege of serving alongside with each other and creating CSAC, South Carolina Scribes and Artisan Community in Sumter. And then we did some ministry outside of that in different places. And so I'm excited, glad to have you here. Dr. Annette West, what's good? Blessings.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you. I appreciate you, Terrence Frederick. It's always a sweet blessing to see your face. Good to be here. Thank you.
Yes, good to have you. Good to have you. I wanted to start with asking you a few questions about just generally what it is that you're into, because you're into a whole lot of things. It's on Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram, and it's all those things have different components of parts of your ministry and what you do. And I just want you to expound a little bit about what you do, why you do it, and the people want to know. And not only that, not only what you do and why you do it, I want you to speak to how that's connected to wisdom and building and doing a work for the Lord.
Thank you. You know, we can all gain information every day. Once we begin to apply that, decide that we want to apply it and really get into it, it becomes knowledge. Wisdom comes in place when we know how to apply the knowledge that we have in a way that aligns with the guidance that Christ has given to us. So I think wisdom is important because it will definitely keep us out of trouble many times if we really heed Holy Spirit. So I must say Holy Spirit because Holy Spirit is my guide for my life. I am a servant leader. My goal is always to serve the Lord and love the Lord. And then because I love the Lord and I serve him, then I must love others and serve them. So, you know, I can just put it in a nutshell. It's all about love. And when we love, then we are committed and purpose to serve others. So that's what I do. I consider everything that I do kingdom work.
Yes.
Everything is of the Lord, for the Lord, doing it through however the Lord has given me opportunities and open doors. So my focus ministry is Dr. Annette West Ministries. Under Dr. Annette West Ministries falls Living Word International Ministry. With Living Word International Ministry, we have our Sisters of Valor Ministry, which we have a Facebook group. We have Friday night refreshing services. We have a yearly retreat. We have other activities and engagement where we'll just do a pop-up and I'll be like, hey, I'm coming to your town. Let us get together. Let us go to dinner. Let us do something. It's just about the sisterhood. But this is not a women's ministry because God's work is to everyone. It's for everyone. So that's a part of it. I do a Sunday morning service called Living Word International Ministries. It flows on from Zoom to Facebook to YouTube and also on Clubhouse. So it's flowing on four platforms on Sunday mornings, 9:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have the blessed opportunity that I'm working on a project right now working to get these videos together, my intro and my outro for a television show
All right.
where I will be teaching the word.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that. So those are some of the things that fall under Living Word International Outreach Ministry. But we also, about 12, 13 years ago, um, furthered our Africa mission. Now, why do I do Africa mission in Africa? As a child, I haven't the faintest idea, but my family always reminds me that I said, I'm going to Africa
Mm.
and I'm going to be a teacher. So those were two things that my family always remind me that I said that I was going to do.
As a
They tell
child.
me that I was already leading, telling people what to do and how to do things. I don't remember a lot of that, but when we're flowing in our gift and not knowing that other people will see it.
That's true.
So I started out doing mission work with some friends when I was in my doctoral program in Sarasota, Florida. I had friends in Sierra Leone and Ghana and Liberia, just different places. And we were getting ready to go to Sierra Leone for mission. And guess what happened that year? Ebola hit. Ebola
Mm.
hit. We had tickets and everything. We couldn't go. My team and I couldn't go. So, flesh would say, well, I guess next time. And the Lord say, but you have friends in other places.
Yeah.
You have friends in other places. So instead of going to Sierra Leone, that was closer to us on the West Coast, only a little more than 4,000 miles to get there, we
Mm.
wound up going all the way to Kakamega, Kenya, over 9,400 miles on that side of the East Coast. It was the work of the Lord. And I'm telling you, since before then, we started doing helping them with some logistical things. But the school is now over 400 students. I mean, buildings are being built. We've had the well dug. We've put up water barrels. I mean, we have done some wonderful things there. We help with the medical mission there. If you've never heard of jiggers, they are sand fleas. And
Mm.
because a lot of children and older people stay in some of the most horrific environments that they live in,
Yeah.
the sand fleas attack their bodies and it can be detrimental to them if they don't get help. So the mission school, that was one of the first things they did, was help to eradicate it out of the school, the children that was coming to their school that they brought in. And then one of the brothers got connected with the mission, and now they travel all around and they go to areas and find people and children that have these issues, and they take care of it for them.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
that's
awesome.
a good part of what we're doing in Kenya. We're working in Kakamega, Kenya, and also in Nairobi, Kenya, and a few smaller places as well. The Lord has blessed us. Now, when it comes to Jetnay Publishing,
Now, before you get
yes,
to
go
that one, I
ahead,
just want to,
go
because
ahead.
you said something very
Mm-hmm.
critical. The door seemed like it was closed. That door was closed. You said, "Hey, I have friends in other places." Talk to me about the importance of connections and friendships in terms of just building and going into ministry, because those kind of things happen. But just talk to me a little bit about the value of connections and having friends in different places.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, brother, I consider you my friend, okay? And we have been blessed, as you mentioned earlier, to partner. It's like I didn't know you. I've been in Sumter a long time. I knew who your sisters were because
Yeah.
they knew my daughters. And I hadn't been to that church in years. And in a season, the Lord just led me to that church, and it was a blessing that both of your sisters were there that particular Sunday. But I don't remember what was going on, but they were both there. I got to
Oh,
see your
really?
sisters. That was when I found out that you were the brother to them. And then we got connected and started doing working on some things, and you came to my retreat that I had in Sumter, South Carolina,
That's
and you
right.
spoke at the retreat. And we've just been connected ever since. We did the CSAC, as you mentioned, where we
Hmm.
were meeting up monthly. And I mean, it was really It was really coming along great. But we always remember there are seasons for everything.
For
There's a
everything.
time in the season for everything. And even though things might be going well with it, there may be some other things that you need to step back because of. And so we step back from that. But it's a blessing to see that Terrence Frederick has decided to revamp that
No doubt.
ministry. And we are not in the same place now. We're in different localities. But one thing about automobiles, put some gas in them, keep them up. You can go a lot of places.
You
And
get
I
there.
am one because of mission. I love to go. I love to do, like I said, I love to serve. And so I think it's important because you never know how you may need to be connected to someone that you just know. One of the best things, I told this story recently. When I was a young girl, I was very young, and I had a friend that was on the other side of town. And you back then, we had the rotary phones,
Oh yeah.
and I called the girl's house. And when her grandma answered the phone, I said, um, "I need to speak to so and so." I think I said it like that, something like that. I need to speak to so and so, and the grandma said, "You know how the old grandmas talk,
Mm-hmm.
baby. You'll do well in life if you learn how to speak to everybody." I said,
Mm.
"Oh, ma'am, I am so sorry. I knew better than to say that. I mean, like, not to acknowledge you. So I
Right.
apologize profusely." But it reminded me of what my grandma had already taught me. And I have purpose to always keep a smile on my face, and to always look at people when I'm talking to them, and to always speak to people. So
Yes.
that is something that I have purpose to do. And now I don't have the purpose. It has just become a part of my nature. I would go places and my daughter said, "Oh, mama, you know everybody." And I'm like, "I don't know these people. I'm just speaking and they just decided to speak back."
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. I don't know if you remember Leah, but when I met Leah at the church at a
Yeah.
conference at your church when you were in Sumter at a conference there, and I had never seen her before. We just saw her, and
Mm-hmm.
then one day I was working on a project and I saw her in the store, and I said, "You know what? I need you to do something for me."
Yes.
So I just grabbed her. She remembered me. I remembered her. And she was telling the lady she was with, "Oh, this is such and such, such and such and such." But we didn't know each other. We knew of each other. But we connected on that. And that helped her to build in the community because she was new to the community. So you never know. Be open, be available. And then my philosophy always is we may be connected today, we may not be connected tomorrow. Let's do the work that is required for us today,
Yes.
and then we move forward. And I've had people that I've been connected to. The ending wasn't that great, but later on down the line, they came back correct, and we move forward.
That's right. That's right. And I was thinking about when I was in one of your clubhouses and you were just, there was so many different people in there, just from different walks of life, doctors, different people, authors, aspiring authors, just different people. And I said, this woman is a gatherer. She just knows how to bring people together. And I just think that's very valuable. Some people might be more shy or introverted in that kind of way, or may feel like, I don't know what to say to people, but I like what you said about just open your mouth and speak. You don't know what's in that person. You don't know how that person could contribute to your life, your ministry, and how you could contribute to theirs. You'll never know. You got to step out and take a risk. And doing ministry work is not for the faint-hearted, and it's not for weak-minded people. And so there are times we just have to step over that fear, go beyond, whatever is speaking in our mind saying don't do it or whatever, just step over that and do it. And in most cases it's going to be a beautiful experience, even if it's like you said, if it's we could just dead it and say, okay, that didn't go anywhere. But even the practicing of communicating with people, even if that particular relationship didn't do anything, just the process of being more open, I think that's going to be helpful for people listening. I want to encourage you to do that because I'm more of the person that's more introverted. You don't speak to me, I'm not speaking to you. I'm that kind of person naturally. But I have learned the value of stepping out, taking a risk, and I've met some amazing people doing that. So I appreciate you for encouraging us to, get beyond the fears. And that's one thing I also wanted to say about Dr. Annette. That's when you talk about boldness, that's boldness right there. And just it's the attitude. I say an apostolic attitude. An attitude of I'm not gonna fail. I'm gonna win. If I don't know the answers or if I don't know something, I can learn it,
Mm-hmm.
I can teach it, and I can show other people how to do it. And I've always appreciated that trait in you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were
Oh no,
talking
you're
about
fine.
Jet Publishing. Let's get into that. Your publishing company. How did you go about doing that, and how's it going?
Well, first of all, let's say Publishing was not a planned entity. I wrote a book back in 2006 called Living Words of Encouragement. It was a book of devotions based on sermons and studies and encouragements that I had done through the years. And one of my friends said, I used to send them out an email. You remember when email was king back in the day?
That's
And then
right.
they said it wasn't. Then we got rid of email, and now they're saying it's king, and you done got
Yeah.
rid of all your connections. And now you got to start all over
Got to
again.
start over. That's
And
true.
I used to send out encouragements 5 days a week. Um, and yeah, 5 days a week. And my friend said every time I wanted to tell somebody about something that you said that we had they were going through something or they were talking about something. And I said, "Oh, Dr. Net was talking about this." And they used to call me Evangelist West. So some people still call me Evangelist West because that
Hmm.
was my first, not my first calling, but teaching is my first calling. And then evangelist. And she said, she called me up one day and she said, "Listen, can you take some of those devotions and things that you do and can you put them in a book so that I can at least have a certain amount of things that I could tell people about?" So
Yes.
that was the beginning of my really writing to really get it out more to the people. And I did that book, 30 devotions, kind of lengthy, a lot of scripture in the book, and that was in 2005. But yeah, 2006. But I didn't publish my second book until 2016, and it was
Oh, okay.
volume 2 of
The first one.
of the Living Words of Encouragement. But what's interesting is that book was 95% finished when I finished the first one. But for
Mm.
some reason, I just was not led to do anything with it. What happened between 2006 and 2016, 10 years to be exact, when I finished self-publishing my book. And if anybody knows anything about self-publishing, in 2005 and 6, there wasn't a whole lot of information out about self-publishing. So you had to scrape and scrounge and try to figure it out to get your content done.
Yes.
So because I had done it, people started reaching out to me, asking me, could they pay me to help them to self publish?
Yeah.
So for 10 years, I was helping people become self publishers. I wasn't a business, y'all, but they were paying me. And then I met Apostle, I believe it was. I think I met you. I believe I met you, and I saw some of the things that you were doing, and the Lord was like, "Now it's time for you to put the second book out." So the second book wound up being volume 2, anniversary edition,
Hmm.
exactly like the first one, just 30 different devotions. So maybe in 2 more years, I'll be putting out the third one. Okay, so we're not in a hurry for it. But
Hmm.
and so in 2016, once I did that second book, I finally got it published. I just started writing more. So in 2016, I did a book. Later in 2016, 2017, 2018, did books. And then it was like the publishing company just kind of fell into place. People started
Oh, yeah.
calling me up. I mean, like, I've never publicized for clients.
Mm.
They will see something and reach out to me. I've had clients or people who wanted to be my clients that
Hmm.
I've had to turn away
Mm.
because I am a faith-based nonprofit. That was my
Yeah.
goal. in this business. And so I will not accept any type of writing manuscripts to come before my eyes.
Right.
And so therefore some people had some overall good thoughts that they wanted to share, but their vernacular wasn't a fit for me. Their explicatives was not going to be a fit for me. And I don't want to have to detox myself every time I read something and work on something. Some people claim that they can do it, but I don't know what a spirit of the Lord, the Holy Spirit in me. I just can't do that and have no comfort behind that. So I just recently I turned a client away last week for the same thing. And they were like, well, I thought, I can't do it. No, for no amount of money. Because I need to have some peace when I sleep. I don't be thinking about crazy stuff when I'm trying to sleep.
Right.
I ain't doing no horror movies, no crazy stuff, none of that stuff. None. You got to know what you're called to do and do what you're called to do. If you know what you're called to do and do what you're called to do, you can't go wrong.
That's it. That's it.
So that's how we got to Jetnay Publishing. And so since 2016, I have at least 20 books that I have published for myself or have collaborated with other people. I think I've been 15 for my own and about 5 or 6 collaborations I've done with other people because, we talk about collaboration, marketing is very important, okay? Networking is very important. So if my sister or brother has a project and they're trying to get people to be a part of it, I'm going to assess it to see if it might be a fit for the kingdom work that the Lord is having me to do. Now, I'm also a business professional, so I wanted a couple of business books up under my belt as well. So when, what's the name? So when Dr. Shirley Clark sent out her clarion call about her book was going to be called Let the Kingdompreneur Speak, guess who jumped on it? I jumped on it.
Yes.
So now I can add this book to my books because I am an author in this book. So you can become an author in many books and not have written every book, the entire book. Right. When I first came across this, I was following this guy and I saw him on in this Christian site that I was on, this Christian book publishing site. And he was talking about how he wrote 3 books. He became a New York bestseller on the first book, but he didn't want to write all the time. Mm-hmm. So he started talking to the people that were in the book club and said, had you thought about doing a collaboration? I'd be willing to jump on that with you. So he started telling people, I'd be willing to jump on a collaboration with you. So he started out with somebody else. Somebody did one. He jumped on. It was 2 of them. Next thing you know, it was one with 5 of them. He was one of the 5. So instead of him vesting a lot of resources into just his project, he was able to vest a small amount in the project. And so I always encourage people, if you're just getting started and you're not sure how you want to move, consider being a part of a collaboration. If that collaboration is done the right way, you're going to gain some really great tools that's going to help you to see if moving to the next level of creating your own resource is necessary. But that particular guy that I was talking to said he has his name in 50 books.
I think I lost you right there. Hopefully I get you back.
And he's only written 3 fully.
Okay, we're back with Wisdom Talks. Dr. Annette was spitting knowledge, dropping jewels. Something happened with the connection, but we're back on. But in the midst of that, you were talking about publishing and you were talking about I'm trying to think what you were actually talking about, but I just want to just pick this up from here and then we'll catch it. What would you say is the value for someone who thinks that they have a lot of knowledge, they may have had a lot of experience with things, but they don't think that there's any value of them even approaching doing a book? You were talking about anthologies or collaborating with people, and that would be the first start. You said you were, it just hit me. You were encouraging people if you first get started, that might be the best way to do it is to go ahead and start with the collaboration with other people so you don't have to do all the work by yourself. And I think that's a great way to gain momentum. As a matter of fact, my first book was Kingdom Music with the Watchmen Society, and we basically all just took chapters and wrote our articles on the subjects, and then we put it together. That's a book right there. And then I revised that. But yeah, talk about that a little bit more in terms of just starting out, wanting to do something, feeling like I can't do all this by myself, but maybe we could collaborate and make it happen.
And speaking about collaborations, where you were just talking, you actually did a free download this on YouTube, and it's called 12 Life Lessons.
Yeah, that's it. That's
It's
it.
still out there, people. So go check it out. 12 life lessons. So 12 of us shared different thought perspectives. I actually talked on what love got to do with it, is what I talked
Mm-hmm.
about. I talked about love. Um, and jump onto something. I would say jump into a book writing club. They're everywhere. You don't, I mean, there's so many virtual ones, it's just ridiculous. Try them out. If it's not a good fit, go to a different one. Go to Facebook. There's some really great ones out there. I'm a part of just a few. I don't have time for many. I'm working my own, and I'm selective in the one that I'm working on. I would say look and see who's offering um, maybe a free or almost free economical workshop.
Yeah.
That might benefit you greatly. For instance, I do one that's called Jumpstart Your Writing. It's a foundational. I've had, I think the first year that I did it, I had 80 some people sign up through the year to go through that workshop. Out of that workshop, I've had people to jump into collaborations that I did. I've had people jump into collaborations and then write their own book. I've had people to write several books since then. But I've had people that used to come into my talking all things books that I used to do on Clubhouse. I had people coming in there and they just came in because it was interesting. They weren't interested in writing or anything. They're writing now. They
Mm-hmm.
never knew that they could write. But I offered every week, 2 days a week, soaking music and a theme, something for them to write about, and give them 10 minutes to write, and then come back, and if they want to share, talk about it. And so we
That's
got
good.
to dialogue on those things. And so that helped them, gave them courage to see that, oh, you know what, I really do have something to say. And what I have found out, most of us already, if we've been writing, I started writing in 84. I have content that I wrote in 84, people, that hasn't even been word processed. Okay. Back then it was
Yeah.
a typewriter. Okay. I still
Mm.
have things in my file cabinet that I have not used again. Who knows? I may, but they're there.
Yeah.
And remember, I said my first book, Living Words of Encouragement, that came from resources that I had. I didn't create anything totally new. I just revamped, reformatted. So everything was uniform to go into a book, but it was
Yeah.
no new content.
It's already there.
So most of us already have something. I would say get into a workshop, find you a group to be a part of, ask questions, listen attentively. But what I will say is what you shouldn't do is keep signing up for the first thing that you see. Every time you see something, you sign up for it.
Yeah.
Most of us are not going to go to most of the things that we sign up for. We know we not, but we excited when we see it.
Right.
I say pay attention to what you are signing. I just signed up for a marketing workshop in Charlotte,
Mm.
and I had to really process. Am I really? Because this is a face-to-face work weekend, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I've got to go there. I've got to be a part of things. I've got to get a
Mm-hmm.
hotel. I'm going to drive there. I've got to purchase my food. So, you
Yeah.
got to think about all of those things
Count up the
if you're
costs.
going to places. But I plan every year a budget so that I can be a part of some things. And then if I don't do those things or be a part of anything, I just roll it over into the next year. Because the
Yeah.
next place I want to go might be Paris or something for a writing workshop. You never know. So there are great opportunities. I've been offered to go to Mexico
Mm.
and do a writing retreat. We're gonna see how that flows, okay?
That would be dope. That would be dope. I'm telling you. You know, one of the things you were talking about when you were talking about writing and preparation and these things, one thing that I would say for the people who might say, and I've seen people who have written their whole book on Facebook for free. They anytime they have these posts, and some of them are brilliant writers. I'm not a really a writer. I'm more of a thinker, thought person, an idea person. Then in order to capture my ideas, I have to put it in a book and publish it. But I'm not really a real natural writer. But there's some people who are brilliant writers. They're writing everything on Facebook, long, I won't say drawn out, because for the people who take the time to read it, it's great stuff. But one of the things I did with one of my projects is I just went through and started taking all my posts, all the posts that I was writing this on and that on, and got some kind of reaction or some kind of feedback on, and I just put them all in one book, and I just made that a book, and I said, watching from my posts. And that's a double entendre, because everybody who knows about Watchmen, they talk about being on posts, but also it was from my posts, taking all my posts and putting it together. There are preachers out there who you have sermons. There are people who can come alongside and help you transcribe, put that stuff together. That's easy. So there are books in you, and there's some people who receive prophecies, and God says, you're gonna write a book, and they're like, I don't know how in the world I'm gonna get a book done, because I'm not even trying to focus on that. I don't even have the understanding or knowledge of what to do. But I would say start somewhere, ask questions, reach out to me, and if you reach out to Dr. West, you gotta know, be prepared that she's not playing. She's not playing. I mean, she would definitely help you, but she's not playing around in terms of, some people reach out, they're not serious, and then they try to do this and that. But she'll let you know better than me. But I just say, reach out to someone who's in this field or who's doing this work, so that we can help you. One other thing before I get back to this last thing I want to talk to you about, we talked about CSAC. I'm starting up CSAC in this area because I moved to Greenville, and I'm in the Greenville Spartanburg area, and I found some people I would gather. I'm going to be gathering together, and we can build in this area. So if you're in the Greenville Spartanburg area, then I'm going to be here and helping with that. Just really kind of like starting from the same foundation that Dr. Annette and myself did, and just redoing that here. And then now I'm kind of like plugging in and setting my foundations in. So we're going to take it further. But what I also wanted to ask you about before I let you go today, let me make sure I capture this. I want to make sure I didn't leave this out. So you're doing all these things we talked about, all kinds of things. My question to you is, what is your motivation for ministry, and what would you say to a person who feels like they don't have a purpose, they don't know who they are, why they are, and so they look at somebody like you doing all this stuff, is like, that would never be me. That could never be me, because she knows who she is. She's doing from a young age. They were telling her, and I don't even know who I am. I don't even know what to do. I just want you to speak to your motivation for ministry, and also maybe to the people who just feel lost regarding their purpose and placement.
My example is Jesus. And the fact that Jesus was a fisherman of men, he went out and he pulled the men aside. I consider myself to be the same. So my goal is to always connect with people, to listen to what they're saying, to encourage them to dig deeper, for them to understand that they're here for a purpose and there's a predestined plan that God has already designed for them. They just have to connect with the Lord and start asking questions. And many times we are already doing what we have been gifted and called to do. Many times people already see us doing it. We not even thinking about it. And
Mm.
then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, I've been doing this for the last 20 years, right?
Right.
Why? Because timing is everything. But you have to be attentive to the fact that God can move in you anytime he so chooses. You have to be open and available. You have to have faith to believe that even though you don't see it yet, it's going to come to fruition. But it's going to come through fruition, not because God's going to do it for you, but because you're going to do it for you, because God has opened the door for you.
Mm.
So people are sitting, well, I'm waiting for God to tell me this. Hey, God don't need to tell us most of the stuff we sitting around waiting on God. Because a lot of times people use I'm waiting on God as a little cop out not to do stuff, okay? Or
Exactly.
I'm waiting for God to speak to me. God word speaking to you every day if you listen. If you dig in his word is speaking to you. He already told you you can be fruitful and multiply. He already told you you can be prosperous and go forward. He already told you you can make your way straight
Mm.
if you are in him doing the right things. So when people sitting back talking about they waiting, what you waiting for?
Mm. Mm.
You're
Mm.
gonna be waiting till you old, decrepit, and leaving this earth, and you gonna be leaving having not utilized the
Wow.
talents and the gifts that God has given to you. And I have found that every talent that we have can be utilized in the kingdom. You just
Right.
have to know how it connects with your gift.
That's
So you
good.
must understand what a talent is and what a gift is. A
Mm.
gift is endowed to you by God. A talent could be something that's just natural or something that you chose to learn to do. But when God, when I used to sing. So when I used to sing, but there is no gift of singing. You know that, right? But when people be like, "Oh, she got the gift of singing."
Mm.
No, she don't.
Mm.
She sings. She has
It's
a
a
nice
talent.
voice, but she doesn't have a gift of singing. What she may have is the gift of exhortation. She
That's
may
it.
have the gift of evangelism. She may have the gift of, I don't know, some other gift. She may have the gift of praise. I mean, she may have gifts, but you must understand what your gift is so that you can see how your talent will flow into it. Because God will take your talent and he will magnify it under the gifting that he has given to you.
That's good. That's good. That's a great. That's. Oh man, now that's in my alley because when you start talking about purposes, gifts, talents, all that, I was thinking about David. We didn't know until the New Testament until Peter broke it out that King David, was a prophet. We saw him doing the Psalms, the poetry. We know he was established and positioned as a king, and so you have the songs, the poetry, you have the talent, but then you had the prophetic gift that was there, and I believe that's really what we need to discover. What our gift is. We already know most time, like you said, we already know our talents to understand our gift, and I would say also connect to the people who know how to stir that thing up or how to impart that or bring it out, cultivate that in you. And we have to be humble too, because there are times when we see people and God has already told us, you need to be around this person. You need to receive from this person. And for whatever reason, now I'm not going to receive from them or I'm not going to whatever. And people want to do their own thing instead of connecting to the person who can unlock things in them. So just survey your own life, look at the people he's already placed in your life. And it may require you to actually go to them. Once again, like I said, you have to open your mouth sometimes, go to them and say, hey, I think I need some mentorship or I think I need some guidance or some direction. Do you have time to do this and see what happens? Because we're not isolated. We're not in some this island by ourselves. We're a part of a community. So I'm so glad I got a chance to bring you on just to talk to you a little bit. I know we're going to do it again, but I just thank you for coming out. Do you have any parting words before we break out of here that you want to leave with the people? You already said a whole lot if you don't say anything else, but it's good stuff too.
Yeah, I want to thank you again, Chief Apostle Terrence Frederick. I got to throw all of that out there sometime. Servant you are. I love you very much. Thank you so much for the platform. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on here and share. This is who I am. I was asked one time if there's anything that you could do and you got paid for, what would you want to do? I said, I'm doing it, talking.
That's it.
I'm talking. That's what I do. I talk. And
Yeah.
I'm willing to learn anything to be able to talk about it. So I'm not going to be talking no stuff that I don't know nothing about. Okay. We're going to be talking stuff that we know. But thank you again. I appreciate you. And you're right. There is so much more that we could have shared tonight, but maybe we will have another opportunity to dig
We
in.
will. We will. Before you go, once again, what's the social media handles? Where can they find you if they just want to get more and
Oh
connect
my
with you?
gosh. So my Jetnay Publishing, you can go to Facebook, it's under Jetnay Publishing. You can go to YouTube, it's under Jetnay Publishing,
How you spell it?
Jatne,
Mm-hmm.
Jetnay Publishing. And somebody might say, well, what in the world is a Jetnay? So I'm gonna share this with you before I leave, what a
Mm-hmm.
Jetnay is. So I said, one day I'm going to have a business and the name is going to be my family. So it's going to be family. So Jetnay is actually my family in order, my husband, myself, and my children in the order of their birth. That came out Jatne. So when I was getting ready to do my trademark, I went to research because, you have to research to see if anybody else has that name. And nobody in the United States had that name. I
Wow.
found the name in Poland. And guess what it means? It is a city, a small city in Poland that means family. So I was like,
Wow.
God, you did that thing just right.
That's
So
on
there's a
them.
little story that goes behind the name Jetnay. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the publishing. But you can reach me there. You can also reach me at jatnepublishing.org. You can send me a message. You can check out my books there. You can see some of the things that I am doing as well. And you can also go to Dr. Annette West Ministries, Dr. ANNETTEWEST Ministries.com. You can go to dranettewestministries.com and you can see the different ministerial things that I am doing there as well. Thank you again. I appreciate you.
Hey, I'm telling you, it was a good conversation. We'll be in touch soon. God bless. Love you much. And grace and peace. Shalom, shalom, good people.
Peace.
You've been listening to the Wisdom Talks podcast. I'm your host, Terrence Frederick, aka Chief Servant, author of Deep Flow, The Spiritual Art of Communication, The Governmental Sound, and the co-author of The Watchman Revolution. Stay tuned for more episodes. Grace and peace. Shalom.